Well, the first thing that will happen, obviously, is that the gas will stop flowing to Ukraine. That will not have an immediate effect because Ukraine has, over the past weeks, been putting a lot of Russian gas into its underground storage tanks, about 11.5 billion cubic meters worth that it has not paid for, which makes Gazprom very angry. And also it is summer. I mean, the main use for this gas is for domestic heating, and that need is very low during summer. So it'll be 2, 3, 4 months until they will really start feeling the pinch. So the immediate effect of the shutdown is not going to be felt in gas shortage in Ukraine. That's still a few months down the road. What will happen immediately is that we are now seeing the beginning of a very long process of legal wrangling. Immediately after they shut down supply of gas to Ukraine, Gazprom filed a lawsuit with the Stockholm Arbitration Court suing Ukraine for $4.5 billion in payments they have not received for gas that has been delivered. In return, Ukraine has filed a lawsuit in Stockholm, same court, against Gazprom to revise the 2009 agreement that Gazprom bases its prices on, arguing that those prices need to be revised. So it's not an immediate gas problem, but it's the beginning of a long period of legal wrangling. And down the road, if there is no solution, Ukraine will end up without gas when it becomes very cold. And that will be a very serious challenge to the government in Kiev. Well, I would say that on this count, I'm on the Gazprom side. The side that has not been willing to negotiate in good faith is Kiev. Kiev government argues that Gazprom has hiked gas prices for political reasons, and it is true that gas prices in April were hiked from $268 per 1,000 cubic meters to $485, which is an 80% hike. And that makes it very difficult for Ukraine to pay. Now, this is true, but that's not political in the sense that the Kiev government argues. In December 2013, the Russian side offered Ukraine a package deal to keep Ukraine within the Russian orbit and not turn to the EU. That included buying $15 billion worth of Ukrainian government bonds and offering a 33% discount on gas. Prior to that, the Russian side had offered a further discount on gas in return for the deal on the Sevastopol base, naval base on Crimea that is now in Russian hands. So what happened in April was not that the prices were raised. What happened was that the political discounts were removed because Russia felt that Ukraine was no longer giving its part of the bargain. We give you low gas prices, you give us something in return. Now they're not getting anything in return, so they return to the gas price $485 per 1,000 cubic meters that was agreed in 2009. And whether or not that is a fair price is a different matter. What Gazprom has argued is that we can discuss the price if you pay your debts for deliveries that have been made. And Ukraine is holding out, saying, we will not pay our debts until we get a reduced price. Now, no company, no household in any EU country would get away with not paying their electricity bills for 6 months without having power turned off. And that is now what has happened to Ukraine. Ukraine probably will continue now feeling that we have sufficient gas to last for a few months, and in the end the EU will step in and help us get a lower price. I think that's a miscalculation from Kiev. Well, the last time there was a gas crisis in 2009, the EU was very, very dependent on Russian gas supply. And if it had been shut down, we had a 13-day crisis that hit Bulgaria and Slovakia very badly. But since 2009, which was a wake-up call for the European Union, a lot has been done. And there is now a much larger readiness to counter shortfalls in Russian supplies via a variety of both technical and economic means. There's also the case that Since then, Russia has opened its Nord Stream gas pipeline that goes across the Baltic. So say, the European Union gets about 1/3 of its gas from Russia. Half of that is via Ukraine and half other directions. So Russia has potential to redirect from transit via Ukraine to supply Europe via other ways. And the European Union has a lot of means at its disposal to substitute for gas shortfall from Russia. So the European Union will not suffer very greatly, even if there is a complete shutdown through Ukraine from gas shortage. What the European Union will suffer from is fallout from the political crisis that now will erupt as Ukraine refuses to pay and Russia shuts down supply. And we are looking at a very, very difficult fall and winter if there is no resolution to the crisis before October, November, when it starts getting really cold. Then this baby will be Brussels' baby as well. And that will create new tensions between Russia and the EU, new demands for sanctions, new problems trying to reverse gas flow from Russia to European Union and back to Ukraine. If we do that, in that case, Russia will say, this is not in good faith. We sell you gas, not for you to re-export it to Ukraine, so we may shut that down as well. So all the really serious problems are a couple of months down the road, 3 months maybe, and meanwhile it is really, really important that the actors get their act together, that Brussels and Moscow start realizing that Ukraine is a common problem. It's not a zero-sum game where one side can win and the other lose. Unless we get together and solve the Ukrainian problem jointly, then we will all suffer. And I fear that it will be the latter, that we're heading for a train wreck here.